Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Two Plain Sports. Yesterday, the Sooners picked up a big quarterback commit in the class of 2023 in Jaxson Arnold. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch of other crap. But before we move on to that, we're going to take the time again to appreciate you guys for following us and helping us grow this channel to where it's a lot bigger than we thought it was going to be this fast. So keep doing what you're doing, keep subscribing, keep liking, keep commenting, keep talking about leave comments about how bad Brum is or how bad Jose is and how good I am. That's what we really appreciate to see down there. Yeah, so let's roll into that. Again, we're going to start with Jaxson Arnold. Brum, let's kick it off.
Yeah. So before we get too far into it, I just want to say we are on Apple Podcasts now. So not only are we on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. So go find us on there at Two Plain Sports. But Jaxson Arnold, 2023 4-star, number 72 overall, number 7 quarterback in the class. He visited OU not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And he ended up committing yesterday. So, I mean, that's a huge commit. It seemed like Arnold and Levy had a very good relationship while he was at Ole Miss. And it just, he came over and that relationship never stopped. And, we saw on Twitter, Brent Venables quote tweeted one of his lock emojis with his, his GIF or whatever. And so that was the post. And, to get a guy like him, and he's the number 7 quarterback in the class. And remember, there was a time where everyone thought no one wanted to play quarterback for the University of Oklahoma. And boom, there's 2 new quarterbacks since Lincoln Riley. Actually, 3. I take that back. You got 1 transfer and then 2 commits.
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, Jose, what do you think about Jaxson Arnold and what he can bring and anything about him?
He's a very talented guy. I think it's interesting that in the past, with Lincoln, it was a race to fill out the scholarships for the weapons on the offensive side. With Venables, it's now a race for every single position, even the quarterback position. We think we had 3 quarterbacks offered in 2023, including Arnold, and Arnold was just the first one to commit. So it'll be interesting to see how that year plays out. But overall, it'll be really cool to see how the quarterback room develops, because we've got a veteran and Dylan Gabriel and 2 young guys and Evers and Arnold, and Evers will have 1 year experience by the time Arnold gets to campus, or at least a semester. I'm not sure if he's going to be an early enrollee, but it'll be, I was telling Brandon, this is another change where we're doing just best of the group is going to play, kind of like Alabama at Saban, and I'm sure others do it, but Saban's like the prime example. You just put in as much talent as you can into a room, and if you can win that position, the spot is yours. But there's always going to be someone there to keep pushing you to be better. And it's very different from Lincoln, because Lincoln, like we talked about before, when he was the coach, he was hyper focused on one guy or a couple of guys. At the quarterback position, it's only one, and we're seeing that at USC. He's hyper focused on Caleb, and it might end up, backfiring. It doesn't really backfire for an often, but there's always that possibility. Venables and Levy are not letting that up to chance anymore. They're making sure that they fill out every single position group with as much talent as possible.
And that's absolutely the best way to build a roster. You put in as much talent as you can. The best man wins. The interesting thing about Arnold to me is I was watching this tape yesterday. First of all, the kid can make every single throw on the field. He's got a big arm, but he's also accurate. He's got good height. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", 190-ish. But he's dual threat as hell. The dude can move a little bit. I'm not saying he's Kyler Murray out there, but he's probably got Jalen Hurts-esque mobility, which is, there's nothing to shake your head out of that. That's pretty solid. What's interesting to me is he's rated so differently everywhere. Like on 24/7, they have him number 72 overall, number 7 quarterback. ESPN 300, he's number 42 in the 23 class. And then Rivals, it's really just Rivals, I guess, who just aren't very high on the kid. They have him at like 170, 172 or something, which is weird to see. It just that disparity, I guess, because usually, there's a little bit of difference, but that's like a huge jump. Hopefully for Oklahoma, and I think we all think he can, but we're also, we're fans, but I think he's closer to that 72 and 42 that 24/7 and ESPN Top 300 has him in, and it's a bright time in that quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the way the philosophy of Levy and Venables and what they're thinking, just putting as much talent. I mean, so they were also recruiting a guy by the name of Jaden Rashada. He's the number 5 quarterback in the 2023 class. He's out of California, and he was supposed to, it was rumored that he was going to visit this coming weekend. But I assume now, with Arnold, jumping at it, he's probably not going to come visit, I would imagine, because this is pretty much locked up. I mean, assuming something crazy doesn't happen between now and the next signing day, which it could. Really, OU offered like 3 quarterbacks: Arnold, Rashada, and Arch Manning. My question to you guys though is, if the Sooners don't win or don't land Jaxson Dart, and you've got Nick Evers, you've got Dylan Gabriel, and now you've got Jaxson Arnold on board, do the Sooners take 2 quarterbacks in the 2023 class? I'm not going to say it's going to be another guy like Jaden Rashada, the number 5 quarterback. He can go play anywhere else. I'm talking about someone that is like maybe recruited as a Chandler Morris. Do you see them taking a second quarterback, Brandon? What do you think?
I don't really think so. Unless, Arch Manning picks up the phone and says he wants to come to Oklahoma, then obviously we're going to take Arch Manning. You never know, I guess, but I don't see it as – it's not going to be something that I see Oklahoma going after hard or recruiting very hard. I don't feel like there's a need there at the moment. As you mentioned, Nick Evers is going to be there for a while, and now you got Arnold coming in. I don't think it's an area you really have to start looking at till 2024. As I was just mentioning, that kind of are loading up on talent and kind of let the best man win and let the cards fall as they might. But I personally don't see it being an area that we at least highly recruit.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're just going to be doing like 1 per class. And the only reason that we kind of expect 2 transfers right now is because they're having to do the reload at that position. But moving forward, I wouldn't expect them to really ever take two quarterbacks, just because that's a position that is already pretty hard to recruit, because schools get on it by the time they're sophomores, sometimes even freshmen, depending on how talented the guy is. And there's just not very many quarterbacks also that are going to be like, all right, well, I'll come together with you and we're just going to compete. Like we saw it. Prime example, we had Brock Vandergriff, and Caleb said he was going to walk on to play for Lincoln, and Brock left, opening the scholarship for Caleb. That's just not a common thing at quarterbacks now. And I mean, it makes sense. It's fair. They have to look out for their own career and their progress. And if they can feel like it's not worth competing for, and most quarterbacks don't, they just move on to the next school, because there's always a school that'll need a quarterback or more depth at the quarterback position.
Bunch of babies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree or anything. I was just curious, but I do agree with you, what you said, Jose. I think they're going to be in on top quarterbacks in every single class. I don't think they're going to do the whole deal of Lincoln Riley every other year and then kind of, fill in a, maybe a 3-star or 4-star-ish type of guy. I think they're going to be going after top 10 quarterbacks in every single class, just to make sure that if someone isn't, delivering like Spencer Rattler wasn't, you had someone great behind him. And I know it was, 2 years of separation, but I really think that they're going to go after every single year. Whether you land someone that great every year, I don't know. But Lincoln just didn't do that at all, which I'm glad that that's going to change.
Who's Lincoln?
Yeah. So the last bit of quarterback talk is Jaxson Dart. I feel like we've been talking about Jaxson Dart for the past 2 weeks now. I don't know. I'm losing count
because he's being. Hose mentioned it off the broadcast. They're being a bunch of divas. That's what's happening at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the optics look like Caleb Williams and Jaxson Dart are like at a standoff right now of like who's going to commit first. I really don't think Caleb Williams is even considering Oklahoma at this point. I mean, so if Jaxson Dart wants to be a Sooner, I really don't think he has to worry about Caleb Williams coming back. And if he wanted to be at Ole Miss, he should have already been at Ole Miss by now, because Caleb's not even considering Ole Miss. And, they just lost their starter. I mean, at some point, the semester enrollment deadlines are coming up. I don't remember. It's been a few years since we've been in school, but I know it was within the first week or two that you had to be enrolled. Otherwise, you were too late. and you don't want to miss spring ball. Jose, do you have anything to say about? I'm just ready for this stuff to be over with, to be honest with you. I don't care. I mean, I care if he's a Sooner, but I just want it done one way or another.
Yeah, I think I said it last time. Like the transfer portal, at least with these two guys, has become a pageant. And I guess it's really recruiting overall has become a pageant rather than kids look. I mean, maybe a lot of kids look for fits, but from optics on the outside, it's all pageantry. They're all posting really cool videos. They're having people make cool edits for them. And that's awesome. Like, you know, social media has done that for them. And now with NIL, they get the opportunity to really leverage all that social media to make money. But at the end of the day, if that's their focus, they're not going to succeed on the football field. And teams are going to struggle. They're going to have a lot more turnover every year, and that's the part where coaches and schools and fans aren't going to be really excited about it because we're seeing it this year. A coach leaves, and a lot of kids will leave with him, and that's going to be happening for the rest of time unless the NCAA does something about it, puts like a tamper period rule like the NFL does and every other league in the world does. But in regards to Dart and Caleb, it's just annoying, man. Like I understand that they're looking for a fit, but it's like you said, at this point, neither of them have mutual interest in like schools, and schools don't have mutual there's nothing clashing there. There's no reason why there should be a holdup. Like this theory that Dart is waiting for Caleb. If that's true, then that means Dart is also considering going back to USC. That's not off the table for him. But whenever he entered the transfer portal, the optics were, well, I'm not coming here because I'm not welcomed anymore. Like Lincoln's got his guy. As soon as Caleb rolls in, like I don't even have a shot to compete for the spot. Which, if it's true or not, we're not sure. But like, make your decision. And the more time goes on, the more at this point, I don't even care. Like they could be at Oklahoma, like they're gonna fall in a spot. To me, like I'll be happy if they produce for OU, if they help win a national championship, a conference title. But they're not going to be like a Baker Mayfield kind of Sooner, where I'm always going to be excited to watch them play at any level, because this is just ridiculous. Like, get this over with. You got to go to school. You got to make a relationship with your new teammates if you're moving to a new team, and you got to get settled into whatever new offense you're about to potentially compete for a starting position in.
I think Jose just hit it right on the head. I think the only thing that could potentially possibly that even makes a little bit of sense with Jaxson Dart, with him not committing or deciding whatever, is if he really does want to go back to Southern Cal and he's waiting out the Caleb, because if Caleb Williams goes anywhere else, then he goes back to USC, and if that's where he really wants to be, that's the only thing that makes sense in him waiting. But at this point, yeah, imagine if we had gone to two job interviews of jobs that we really like, we're like, oh man, this is awesome, and both jobs offer us a position full-time, whatever, and we're like, man, it's going to be tough to decide, but we can't tell both jobs, yeah, just give me 6 months and then I'll get back to one of you guys. Like at some point the offer is going to be rescinded, and these kids know it's, unfortunately in college football, or fortunately, I don't know, depends how you look at it, the offer is not going to be rescinded, so they can sit here and do whatever they want and play video games and do whatever the hell they want to do and wait forever long on this. And I just, yeah, like Jose said too, maybe there's, I don't know, maybe they need to, as soon as you're offered from a school, you have a week to decide. Like there's got to be something like to make this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a job offer, because there's no job offer in the world where you can, hey, this would be your salary. This is where your hours, whatever, you like everything. And you say, yes, I really appreciate the opportunity. Give me a month and I'll come back to you guys. That's not how it works. And that's just not how it works. So and maybe that's why we get so frustrated and annoyed watching this process unfold, because it seems as if nothing is happening. So, I mean, yeah, I think I'm echoing your guys' sentiments about being a little frustrated with it. That being said, I would still like to see Jaxson Dart end up in that Crimson and Cream.
Before Brum goes again, I do want to reemphasize, imagine being a part of this team right now, right? Especially at Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is lacking depth at the quarterback position. Not only as a coach, but as a teammate, now you're playing the waiting game on who's going to be, if you're a wide receiver, who's going to be throwing me the ball? If you're an offensive lineman, how am I going to need to protect for my quarterback? Because if it's a more mobile guy, probably got to get a little bit more agile. If it's a guy that's going to stay in the pocket a little bit more, you want to be in the string through more. And I mean, they're probably focusing on all that anyways, but like if they, let's say, for example, these guys do wait another month, because they technically can. They could take all semester off and it won't matter unless the schools tell them like you have until March to decide or something, because there's always that 8-week class schedule they can take. Like you're going to be out of favor with not just the coaches, because you just put them in a bind again, especially at a place like SC where they kind of just wait for one guy to make a decision, then move on. You're putting these schools in a bind on recruiting other players, and your teammates are now put in a position where they have no idea how their future is going to go, because the coaches are waiting to try to coach a quarterback, because we all know the quarterback position at no matter what level of football is like the prized possession, and nothing can really go, or not a lot can go without your starting quarterback and your leader of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. And we got to also remember, this is the end of January. The spring game is only 2.5 months away, 2.5, 3 months away, depending on what weekend they're playing. Spring ball's not that far. And if you're not enrolled and if you're not part of the team, I think half the battle I get, if you're talented, is, being a part of the team and, buying into the system. I mean, if I'm on the team and you're just sitting here kind of waiting and making the staff hire someone, or, there's rumors that Caleb Williams is waiting on a quarterback coach to be hired. And if he likes him, then he'll go to USC. And it's just like, if you really, like, we shouldn't have to beg. Like, as if you're a USC football player, I wouldn't like that he's only coming there because of certain coaches. They're not to play for, not playing for the team. I don't know. I mean, I get it. You want the best for yourself. I'm just ready for it to be over. I would imagine if they don't decide by this coming weekend, I don't know if they're going to be eligible for the spring, or, or how that works, but they're running out of time. So I'm just ready for it to be over. I'm going to say we're going to know something by the end of the weekend, by
We've been
by
saying
this
that
weekend.
for weeks at this point.
I know if we don't see it by this weekend, then I could see it dragging on for months.
They get the nicest vacations paid for by some big sponsors, because this is not worth it. Not like for their prolonged careers and for the short term. Imagine what the NFL is going to think by the time they get there. These guys don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but I do agree. I think Dart is waiting because I think he might want to go back to USC, but we'll see. Anyway, so there's been 2 locks that have been tweeted out from this past weekend of all the visitors. And, there was quite a few officials. I believe there were 6 official visitors this weekend, but we've got 2 guys that we think the 2 locks are. The first one we'll go with is Grayson Halton. He's a 6'3", 270-pound edge player from San Diego, California. He's a 4-star, number 265 overall, number 33 defensive lineman in the 2022 class. And in his career, he's played every year of high school football on the varsity level. He has 122 solo tackles, 13.5 sacks, 4 caused fumbles, and 1 interception in his career. He is currently committed to the Oregon Ducks. He's visited the Hurricanes, and now he just visited Oklahoma. I think he's one of the locks, and I think Todd Bates is, sold him on it. I don't know why, but he posted some pictures this weekend. It looked like he had a good time. He's extremely talented and someone that we would really need, and getting him, another 4-star on the defensive line. I mean, Todd Bates, we talked about how good of a hire he is, but he's already exceeding my expectations. I mean, I'm already assuming that, Grayson is committed to the Sooners, but he's doing a great job. Brandon, what do you think about Halton and Bates and all that?
Bates is killing it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And plus, this kid would be awesome, because anytime you add a 6'3", 270 4-star to your defensive line, you absolutely do that. You take it. As you mentioned, 122 tackles, 13 sacks, pick. Solid high school numbers. But the thing that he's a 4-year starter in high school at the varsity level that's pretty impressive, especially, coming out of San Diego, California. I imagine he's playing some pretty tough schools out there. It would be a huge get, obviously. I think maybe he watched the last video and found out that Miami really does suck for football, and was like, I don't want to do that. That's because they suck. So yeah, we'll see. I would love for Grayson Halton to be one of the locks, and Miami sucks.
Yeah, so I was doing more digging into him after his pictures came in. I really like how this, not just his size and weight, but how his stature. Like this dude's got big ass legs. And I know it seems minor, but that means he's probably got some power under those. And if he can get any sort of leverage on probably a much bigger offensive lineman, that big boy's going down. And he's going to get to the quarterback a lot quicker than most. And I think that's something that is going to be different. Like if you look at all the defensive linemen, a lot of the ones that were on the roster before, they were big, but they were just like tall and had some girth on them. Like this guy just overall like a brick house kind of built, kind of build. And that's what's going to be, I think that's what's going to help propel him into being like ready as a freshman. And then it's probably why he started all 4 years in high school. I'm sure that this wasn't something that just happened overnight. He was probably built pretty well coming into high school. That put him in a position to be successful at the varsity level at 14 years old. And now he's 18 and probably killing it out there.
Sounds like he's going to be kind of like me when I'm fully grown. Because I think when I'm fully grown, I'm going to be about 6'4", 260. But it's going to be solid muscle, be shredded.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to get there. Give it a couple years.
Give it a couple years.
I guess it's a new thing that you don't end puberty till like 30 now, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking Gatorade and eating only ramen noodles. I think someone told me that makes you big.
It's the truth. And I will also say it's not only Todd Bates, but Miguel Chavis. He's an up and coming. Chavis? I think it's Chavis. I might be wrong, but I think
it's Chavis or Chavis though.
Or Chavez.
Or Chavez. What do you think?
Chavis. But anyway, I mean, getting a guy like him, I really think we're going to find out. I mean, National Signing Day is, February 2nd. So we're next week. So getting him on campus was huge. And I'd imagine the Sooners are going to close him out, and we'll either find out between, now and February 2nd, or we'll find out on the morning of National Signing Day. The second lock that we think is Jamarian Burt. He's a 6 foot 179 athlete from Ocala, Florida. 3-star, number 462 overall, number 28 athlete in the 2022 class. He plays offense and defense. In his career, he has 51 catches, 820 yards, and 8 total touchdowns. 66 solo tackles and 19 assists in his in his high school career. Once committed to Florida. Teammate, he was buddies with Gibson and Evers. I mean, Lee Davis was there. I really feel like, and he posted a picture with Sandlin on Twitter, and it looked like he had a great time. Jose, what do you think about Burt and the chances of him?
Well, I'd be pretty excited about it because I think he'll be playing safety at the college level, and he's going to be learning from a guy that has a similar play style in Trey Morrison. I think I mentioned it last time. Whenever we were talking about Trey, I said he was going to be the most impactful new Sooner because of like that fear of not wanting, or that fear of it, his life doesn't matter to himself. He's going to go in and he's going to make sure he can destroy the guy that's catching the ball or the guy running with the ball. This guy seems to have a similar mindset in playing defense and tackling, which is a nice breath of fresh air because it's kind of frustrating to always see a lot of missed tackles on the field. I don't think that's going to be a thing that we're going to be consistently seeing on this defense.
It's just a real athletic dude. Obviously can play both sides. I also see him at DB. Just tall, athletic, can get around, good depth if nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, the Sooners are going, that Florida is going to be a hot recruiting ground. It always has been, but I really think they're going to try to make it even more so. Another DB that came on campus and a little unexpected is Peyton Bowen. He's a 6 foot safety from Denton, Texas. He's from Geyer High School, just like Jaxson Arnold. 4-star, number 58 overall, and number 4 safety in the 2023 class. He committed to the Irish on the 1st of this month. And getting him on campus on an unofficial, he was in communication with Jaxson Arnold the entire time. I feel really solid with him. And now that Arnold's on board, I think Arnold's going to sway him, and I think he's going to be a Sooner. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to announce and decommit, but I really think the Sooners are in a great spot for Bowen. Brandon, what do you think about him?
I think Notre Dame sucks. I'm going to start with that too. I think that's what I want. I hope, we need to spread the word to these kids that other schools are dog shit, and that will help them make the right decision. So Notre Dame sucks, first of all. This kid I'm much more excited about. Just as you mentioned, anybody who's a top 5 safety in the class is pretty darn good. Whatever, 58 overall or something. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's special. He's, as you mentioned, hopefully that Arnold connection is working out, because he was recruited by Alabama, and he didn't. I think Jay Valai was the lead recruiter there, and it didn't seem to go very well. So that, in that regard, it's a little bit stressful, but hopefully him and Arnold are close. He's got a pretty good opportunity at Oklahoma if he were to make that decision. And I think he would bring a whole Oklahoma defense, and Notre Dame sucks.
It'll be interesting. It'd definitely be a good addition to the class and the safety position overall. I was trying to do some digging and see if I could find like anything that was quoted of him, like why he chose Notre Dame over Alabama. And now that we have Valai, I was wondering if it was just not a good fit. Like he didn't feel like he fit in at Alabama, and Notre Dame usually has a pretty good defense. They have one of the best safeties in college football of last season. So I don't know if that's something that swayed him when he was the safeties coach. So hopefully Valai was able to introduce him to Brandon Hall, and hopefully that was a good building block in regards to a relationship and a way to get him over, because the fact that he just committed 3 weeks ago, I don't know how to feel about that. Was he just coming with his buddy and like something to do on the weekend, or is he like seriously thinking about leaving Notre Dame only 3 weeks after committing? It's not like Notre Dame's had any fluctuation in their coaching staff in the last 3 weeks. They've been pretty steady.
It's an interesting situation for sure.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see. It's good to get him on campus. Another big time player is DJ Hicks was on campus this weekend. He's a 2023 5-star, number 5 overall defensive lineman, number 2 defensive lineman in the class. He was on campus, took his visit. He has a great connection with Todd Bates, and it seemed like the visit went really well. A reporter from the website On3 crystal balled him to Oklahoma. I think that Todd Bates connection is going to pay dividends with him. Not saying that Hicks will be a Sooner, because we got a long way to go, but seeing a crystal ball come in never hurts after a visit. Do you guys have anything to add about that crystal ball or anything about Hicks? I mean, we've talked about him before, and he's a terrific athlete. And if the Sooners land him,
he'd be the biggest get of the Todd Bates era so far. No doubt about it.
That's a Todd Bates effect, though. We talked about it last time. Todd was his lead recruiter from Clemson, so it must be a pretty good relationship established there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last kid that we're going to talk about in this one is Devin Campbell. We've been talking about him for the past few months. He's a 6'3", 310-pound interior offensive lineman from Arlington, Texas. He's 2022 5-star, number 10 overall, number 1 interior offensive lineman in the class. He's between Oklahoma and Texas. He's going to announce and sign on National Signing Day on February 2nd. It looks like the Sooners are making a great push for him. Coach B, Todd Bates, Jay Valai have all been to his basketball games the last couple games, showing up, supporting him, letting him know that he's wanted at Oklahoma. Texas has got 6 commits already on their current class. It's going to be a really close deal, but I think
wonder how they got those 6 commits.
Yeah, a lot of dollars, but OU seems to be really surging, and if he really wants to get developed, he's got to pick Oklahoma. I think seeing that he wants to be at Oklahoma, and then his family wants him at Texas. I don't know if that's there's any truth, but that's the rumor. Does his family want a little money already? I don't know, but if he wants to go be a number 1 pick or a first round pick anyway, he should go play for Oklahoma. You guys have anything to say with him? I mean, I don't know. My gut is telling me Texas, but I'm hoping for Oklahoma. They're going to make it close.
Nailed it. If he wants to better himself and make it to the league earlier, and if he wants to win football games, he goes to Oklahoma. If he just wants to chase that $50,000 that Texas is handing out, because that's the only reason anybody's going there anyway. So if he wants to get paid, he's going to go to Texas. If he wants to win football games, he's going to go to Oklahoma. If he wants to be a better football player, he's going to go to Oklahoma. So I'd love to have him, but it's going to come down to what matters more to him.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see him. That's another recruitment I'm glad to see ending, next week, just so we can, either have him or he goes elsewhere. Either way, Do you guys have any final thoughts or well, I guess, Brandon needs to do his end of video challenge, huh?
Yeah, I want to hear from you guys on the Caleb Williams, Jackson Dart situation. Are we being dramatic by calling them divas and queens and all that for dragging it out, or you guys think we're right? What is your guys' opinion on that situation?
They're divas.
Yeah.
It's not a question.
It's not a question. I'm just ready for it to be over. Just pick a school and go. It wasn't that hard. I mean, I don't feel like it's that hard, but I don't know. I mean, I get it, but not really.
It's not that fucking hard.
No, it's really not. It's really not that hard, but either way, we're going to find out soon. Hopefully, if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Apple Podcasts. You can find us all over the place now. We're going to keep pushing out the content. We've got a lot of stuff coming up with the National Signing Day next week. Follow us on Twitter. We've been growing like crazy, but a lot of good content on there as well to keep up more, live, more of a live feed type deal rather than these podcasts, kind of recapping a few things at
Jared,
once.
if you're watching, shout out for the DMs, bud.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the DMs. And if you guys see anything, DM us on Twitter for sure. Cause we, at the end of the day, we can't keep our eyes on everything. And you guys are kind of, you guys spread the web and you can see everything. So, but anyway, we really appreciate it. Keep subscribing, comment, like, and we'll catch you next time.